Hello, hi everyone. I'm Sammy, welcome. Welcome to my beautiful kitchen. Very excited here. We're going to be cooking a pasta dish and it's a little bit cold in Sydney today. Yesterday was totally freezing. Today is a little bit warmer, but it's still definitely pasta weather. Nice and warming for the belly. You can see there's lots of green here. So winter's a beautiful time for lots of leafy greens, very healthy, good for your immunity. And yeah, we're gonna get cooking very soon. If you have any questions throughout this, please send them out. I've got my lovely cousin Brendan here. He's come all the way from London to help me film this live. And he's pretty excited as well because he loves all things green, don't you, Brendan?
Love the greens, love the pasta.
So Brendan's going to read out any questions that you guys have. Look, this is a recipe that we're going to, from start to finish, it's going to take less than 20 minutes. Super quick and easy. I've already got a pot here of water bringing up to the boil, which I can boost it. I've got an induction. Induction, if you're boiling water, is like the best thing ever because it just boils things really, really quickly. I think we put this on like, 30 seconds ago. It's already starting to steam. So we'll see if we've got enough people. Should we start cooking, Brendan?
Let's go for it.
Okay. So we're doing a kale pesto spaghetti, and this is part of the Barilla at-home cooking. So we've got a few different ingredients, but there's plenty of things that we can actually swap out. So if, for example, you don't have kale, I've got two types here, so I'm only going to use one type. Like a curly kale, the one that's in most supermarkets, super popular. And we've also got cavallonera. This one's actually quite a green one, so it must be kind of a different variety, sorry, a bit purpley. It must be a different variety, but both are really great. You can use baby spinach if you want. We've got some fresh herbs. So normally I would use some chervil and chives. Chervil's kind of got this like nice aniseed sort of flavour to it, and I couldn't find any. Boohoo? No, not boohoo. I'm just going to use some dill instead, and I do have some chives, and then we've got some nuts. So it's kind of, in the realm of a traditional pesto, but with, different ingredients. So if you do need to swap something out at home, if you have any questions, if you can't find anything, for example, I'm using pistachios. Now, pistachios are a bit expensive, but they do have that lovely green.
We lost one
for the cockroaches. I'm joking, there are no cockroaches. So yeah, pistachios can be a little bit expensive, but so you could definitely substitute them with almonds if you wanted, or macadamias even. So I'm going to use a combo of pistachios and walnuts. Do you reckon can I?
Go for it. Let's see.
I got it. I'm not going to try that the second time because it definitely won't work. It'll probably end up in my eye and I'll be blind, and that won't be good for anyone. So I'm going to check on this water. So it's nearly boiling, soon. So I think the first step to making this dish is to prepare your kale. So I think I'm actually going to use my curly one for today, just so you can see that you can use different types. And this one's probably the most available in the shops. So I'll just pop that one there for now. So I actually gave this one a little wash before, which is very important. You have to wash all of your veggies. Now, the recipe that I have calls for a bunch. I feel like the curly kale is a very big bunch, so you can probably, use like 3/4 of a bunch, not the whole bunch. So we're just going to peel off the leaves from the stems. It's our first step. Get rid of all those. And I'm a huge no waste advocate, so I definitely will not be throwing out these stems. Oh, I can hear my water. It's about to boil. I might just take that lid off so it doesn't overflow. So one thing to note here, really important, is you want a really big pot of water. So we're going to not only blanch our kale in this water, but we're actually going to cook our pasta in it too. So we're going to wait for that to come up to a bubble. We'll season it, but back to the kale stems. So instead of throwing these out, I'm going to save them, and you can actually chop them up, put them in a minestrone, or you can add them to soups or stews, any soup or stew. And why not, if you're making a bolognese, you can actually chop that up, slow cook it so it kind of softens and falls apart. Or you can just cut it into bite-sized pieces, toss it in some olive oil, salt, pepper, throw it in the oven. Absolutely delicious, easy, no waste. So I'm going to make a half portion today, just just for Brendan and I.
I was gonna say just for you.
Well, you know, they do say, eat spaghetti to forget your regretting.
Where have I heard that before?
Do you like my new t-shirt, my new jumper?
Loves it.
You love it? So I actually, funnily, my boyfriend, beautiful Ben, who's meant to be watching.
Oh, he's watching.
He got me this for my birthday, which arrived, my birthday was in April, but it arrived in the mail yesterday. So I was like, perfect, I'm going to wear it today. And it's a bit cold, so it's jumpy weather. Let's throw that there. Okay. A little drink of water. Mm-hmm.
Important to hydrate, guys.
Yes. Must stay hydrated, even in winter. Okay. So I'm going to add in some salt. So I've got some sea salt flakes here. So whenever I salt my pasta water, what I like to do is add it by hand. And you want it to be salty like the Mediterranean. I know it looks like a lot of salt, but you need a lot of salt in your pasta water. So it actually seasons the pasta as it's cooking it. And don't worry, that salt's going to stay in the water. It's not like it's going to make your dish overly salty. And it's actually really important to salt your water quite well when you're cooking or blanching vegetables. Something about the salt content and the vegetable salt content being the same, it actually stops the flavour from leaching out into the liquid. It actually preserves all the nutrients a lot better in your vegetables. So that's almost boiling. I'm just going to throw that in now. Now we just want to blanch this for like 30 seconds. I've got a tray here ready to fish it out. And look, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you do it for a bit longer, you just want to keep some of that vibrancy in the actual kale, which is going to give our pesto that beautiful bright green colour. 30 seconds. Who's going to count me in for 30 seconds? Somebody. And this is going to sort of soften and help break down the leaves just enough so that it's not a really like astringent, bitter pesto. It kind of softens it a little bit.
It looks so lush and green.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, that's enough. So you just want to spread it out. I brought a spider just in case, but these tongs are pretty good. Doing the job quite well. Come on, okay, now I'm just going to leave my spider to little
There we go.
last little bits and pieces on that whole waste not want not. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there to steam off a little bit. You can see the water's now coming up to a boil, which is perfect timing. So my favourite thing about this pasta is it takes the same amount of time to make the sauce as it is to cook the actual pasta. So spaghetti number 5, one of my favourite things with Barilla pasta is that it's tested to perfection. So when they say 9 minutes in the packet, it means 9 minutes. But what I like to do is cook it for a minute less than what the packet says. There we go, bubbling away. Because when I'm tossing the pasta in the pasta sauce, that will still be another minute process. There'll be some extra pasta water in there, you'll see when I get to it. So by the time you're eating it that perfect 9 minute sort of stage. So we're going to do half a recipe, which is half a packet. So normally the full recipe calls for a full packet, 500 grams. That can serve anything between 4 to 6 people, depending on if it's a side or if it's a main meal. But this is just all for me, isn't it, Brendan?
I can't wait to try this.
So, pasta goes in, water is boiling. I don't know, you simply chefs do fancy things. Whatever, that didn't really work.
Some people tend to break it in as well.
Oh my God, no, do not break the pasta in. So the whole beautiful thing about spaghetti is that you've got these lovely long strands that you get to twirl around your fork when you're eating it to pick up all the sauce, all the goodness, and you have this perfect forkful. Also, I don't agree with people who cut their pasta in the plate, and I think I know a few culprits of that. Won't name names. But we're going to stir the pasta now. It's really important when you first put your pasta in to stir it. So a lot of people, they think, how am I going to prevent the pasta from sticking together? And unfortunately, it's not a simple trick like putting olive oil in. Do not, please. No.
I know a few people that do this.
Do
I'm not going to name any names,
okay.
Nicole.
We're not naming Nicole. He's dubbing in his sister. She puts olive oil in her pasta water. And I'm going to tell you why that doesn't work. Olive oil is a fat, so it's lighter and it sits on top of the water. So it actually doesn't end up coating the pasta. It will only ever just float to the top. And it's a waste of good olive oil. But when you are pulling out your pasta, so past the stage of it sticking anyway, you actually do get some of that olive oil on the pasta, and that will prevent your sauce from sticking to the pasta. So actually, the concept behind putting olive oil doesn't work, but saving that starchy pasta water for mixing the sauce with it actually does. It's about, you know, making the pasta and the pasta sauce one. Very important to mix your pasta with your sauce once you've cooked it all as well, because that kind of brings it all together. I'm not a believer of just popping on the sauce on top of the pasta on the dish. All right. Oh shit. I should swear. Okay, we're doing it live. One of my favourite kitchen tips is using my Hey Siri on my phone. That's my little niece on there as well.
Isn't she adorable?
Isn't she cute, little Rosie, Rosalia? So, Hey Siri, set timer for 7.5 minutes.
Okay, your timer is set for 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Thank you, Siri. So, packet says 9 minutes. I've been fiddling with it for about 30 seconds. So we're going to cook it, find a way for 7.5 minutes. Of course, when the timer goes off, I'll give a little taste test just to make sure. But Siri is like my best friend in the kitchen. I yell at her all the time. I ask her for conversions. If your hands are like full, busy, and you just need to throw out a question, she's always there for me. She's very, very handy. I love the Siri. So that's my tip, is get Siri to cook your pasta for you. So now that we've got the pasta boiling away, we've got 6 minutes and 50 seconds to make our pasta sauce. So we've got the kale, which we blanched. And it's as simple as throwing all this stuff into a blender. So I'm going to do about a tablespoon of walnuts. Lost a nut there. Oh, for me. And then a tablespoon of pistachios. You could do just walnuts, you could do just pistachios, you could do almonds, you could do macadamias. Hazelnuts, probably not, probably have too much flavour. Okay, and now some fresh herbs. I've got some chives and some dill. If you don't like dill, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
So stalks and all, yeah?
Yeah, so I ripped off the tops, not the like super woody bits of the dill. I just kind of chose from the top end. And actually it's really funny, in Italy, so I think it was 2015, Bella and I, my sister Bella and I, we went to Italy with Barilla pasta, and we got to visit all the beautiful fields where all the wheat is grown for the pasta, they grow the tomatoes for the sauce, the basil for the pesto genovese, and the basil pesto that they make is actually only made with like the top leaves of the basil plant that they grow, because that's the sweetest, most delicious leaves and part of the plant. So similar concept here we're following with the dill. Did anyone who's watching at home watch My Kitchen Rules when Bella and I were on there in 2011? We were season 2. We were the winners, if you were wondering.
Congratulations.
Yes. Oh, thank you, thank you. And I mean, what an experience. It was super, super intense. It was like 3 months of intense learning that happened, and it really set us up for life, and we're so, so thankful for what the show did for us. But yeah, a lot has changed since then. I think if I made this dish on there, I'd probably do pretty well. A pretty tasty dish. Okay, so I'm going to add in some olive oil into this jar as well. Come on, olive oil.
Roughly how much are we putting in?
Okay, so I have a recipe written out for you guys, which if you head to the Barilla page or to my Instagram as well, you can find. It is like the recipe, it is great quantities, but often when I'm cooking like this, I just end up eyeballing it and doing it by feel and touch. And something that my grandmother always taught me, and Brendan, my cousin who's filming, is his grandma too. Like with salt, she always used her fingers to season with salt. And when you're first learning to season food, you do it with taste and a little bit at a time, but eventually your fingertips have this memory of how much salt to put in. So that was, you know, when I picked up the salt in my hand and threw it in. It's that memory of knowing the feeling of how much you're putting in. And for that reason, I like to use the same salt. This is a Maldon sea salt. I like the flakes, the texture. It's great in dishes for the flavour, but also as a finishing salt as well. And I just love it. I love it. I think it looks pretty too. I'm just going to keep stirring my pasta, make sure it's not sticking. Okay, let's Or 3.5 minutes. We could make the sauce in 3.5 minutes. We can do it. Okay, so I'm going to cut a little bit of a wedge of Parmesan cheese to add as well. Just going to cut that up just to make it easy for the blender. You could totally take out the cheese. Brendan, you're lactose intolerant, so you wouldn't be having the cheese or the butter in this recipe, but it's totally fine. You can get away with it. You don't have to have it. But I like it for flavour, of course.
It's the flavours I do miss though. It smells incredible, I have to
miss
say.
the flavour?
I do.
Yeah. Okay, so and now to this jar. So you can see the kale, it's like soft, but it's still super bright green and vibrant. Perfect, just how we want it. So we're going to add this to the blender. And look, these quantities, if you want more of a herby sort of flavour, for sure, add in like heaps more herbs, add in some basil, add in some parsley. It's totally up to you. You essentially just want beautiful greens, you want nuttiness, you want Parmesan cheese, all those good things. And then you can kind of play around with it for sure. Now, I'm just going to steal some water. And the water's just going to help get it going. And now we're going to make a little bit of noise. You ready?
Block your ears, everyone.
Yeah, block your ears. I started on the slow one just to get it going, and then we'll suck in all the goodies. Have a look at the changing delicious colour. It's going to become bright green in a second.
Whoop.
Okay, it's going to go in a second. If you need to add some more water to get it going, you can. But that's cooking pretty good. It's going to be so delicious. Okay. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of extra water to that just to get it even smoother. Not much, like a tablespoon. And you can just judge, like, you know, when you pull out your kale from the water, it might have a little bit more water on it than mine does. Ooh, it smells good. Herbaceous, delicious.
That green is ridiculous.
You see how smooth it is as well? I don't know if you can hear me, but can you see how smooth it is now as well? It just takes a little bit. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Can you smell it as well? It smells good.
Oh my god, it's fresh as F.
Oh, it's fresh.
Oh.
Oh, there's my Siri, my timer. See how good is she?
Perfect timing.
Oh, I just repeated it. We don't need to repeat it. That's right. Okay, so now that she's beeped at me, I am just going to double check the pasta just to make sure.
How do we do this? We throw it in the ceiling?
I don't think I could reach the ceiling.
I mean...
no, you just try it.
Ready?
Perfect. Off. Okay, so sauce goes into this bowl. And look, it's going to be a lot of sauce, but it's meant to like really coat all of the pasta. So I'll get that in there.
So Nicole's just tuned in and said, should I be putting oil in my pasta water to help the pasta not stick?
No, Nicole, you should not. We did cover this earlier. You absolutely should not be putting it in because the oil's just going to sit on top of the water and it's actually going to only stick to your pasta when you remove it from the water, which then prevents your beautiful sauce from sticking. Ooh,
Did you hear that, Nicole?
Okay, so I'm just going to give this a toss. Look how beautiful and green that is.
Jillian's saying that green is ridiculous.
I know, it's so good. Jillian,
Oh, wow.
you should definitely try and make this. To see how much sauce there is, If your pasta sauce is a bit dry, you can actually add in some extra water. And when you add in water, add it in from your pasta cooking water because that's going to be nice and starchy already. But I think that looks pretty damn good. Oh no, I don't want to get green on you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So we're going to try it first in seasoning, just because I can, before I serve it up. It's actually so perfect, except for one more thing that it needs. Anyone who knows me knows that I am an absolute pasta fiend.
Fanatic.
I like crazy. So normally my favourite thing to do, especially these packets, when you peel off that first layer, you can just see a bit of butter. And I normally always like stick my finger in and eat it. I will not do that now, but that's what I normally do. So I'm just going to take about 25 grams of butter, just cut it up into some cubes, throw it in there and just let that residual heat melt it through. And look, like I said, you can totally make this vegan, you know, lactose free, whatever you need to. Just take out the cheese and butter, add in more nuts, maybe puree the nuts with some more water. Maybe put in your nuts first, puree with lots of water, just to kind of get that creaminess that you get from the cheese and the butter. And then, you know, the Parmesan cheese gives it this lovely, salty, umami, rich sort of flavour. Oh my God, this is so good. I just love like how much green there is, you know?
Oof.
It's just like totally, just get in there, have a look at Brendan, just watch this like tossing, listen to the sludginess of it.
That creaminess is crazy.
Sludginess doesn't sound very good, but you know what I mean. You just know like it's going to be totally, totally delicious. So if anyone has any more questions, comments, send them through before I plate this up. I'm so excited to be cooking with Barilla again. I've missed it. I mean, not that I ever really stopped, but I'm so excited to show you guys recipes. I'm going to have another recipe coming out soon for a pasta bake. All right, this is definitely 2 people serve. That's a lot. But we're going to do one last little thing, and that is
To make the magic.
magic. Cheesy magic goodness. And look, I have to say, it feels pretty damn special that I got to go to Italy and visit the Barilla factories, have such an amazing experience there, but to see how the pasta's made and experience the culture around, you know, everyone gathering around a table, eating this together. It's such an easy recipe. It's totally delicious. I'm going to put some extra olive oil on top. If you want a bit of cracked pepper, you can put some cracked pepper on there as well. I kind of like the spiciness that olive oil adds to it. Good quality olive oil, of course. Extra virgin, touched for the very first time. So there you go. This is my pasta dish. So it's spaghetti, kale pesto. So important this time of year to get all of your greens into your diet. And I mean, what easier way? If you want to try and get kids into eating this, sell it as, you know, Shrek pasta or something like that. You can use other shapes as well. You don't have to use the spaghetti. Use that sauce as a base. So go and put it with the risotto for kids, which is like smaller and much easier to eat. Or you could even do the fusilli, which is the nice curly ones. Endless options, but for me, the spaghetti is the best because I just love whirling it and eating it and slurping it. Absolutely delicious. That cheese smells so good.
Watch the white top.
Yum, 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 yum. Well, like I said, the recipe you can find on the Barilla Instagram or head to my Instagram page as well. So excited. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and joining us at the Barilla, at home with Barilla. Cooking our way to delicious pasta goodness. And don't forget, have spaghetti to forget your regretti. That's what it's all about. Today's the perfect day. Cold outside. You've probably got all these ingredients at home already. And why not? Delicious. Oh my God. You know what I forgot? I forgot the garlic. It doesn't even need the garlic. But you can definitely add garlic. Follow the recipe there. Ooh, so good. Well guys, I'm gonna eat this, love you and leave you. Mwah. Thank you so much for joining me here at my lovely kitchen, and hopefully see you again soon. Remember to cook the dish, #with Barilla.